What's going on, guys? Welcome. Yes, you are first. Just say Bobby, you are first. So tonight I'm going to be doing something a little different. Instead of just playing, I'm going to analyze games. If you are under 1,000 rated and you want me to analyze a game, send me the link. Josh Connor. I used to know a Josh Connor. I don't know if that's the same Josh Connor. But yeah, if you are under 1,000 and you have a game you want me to analyze, throw it either in the chat or send it to me on chess.com. Just message me. Will I do higher ratings in the future? Yes, absolutely. So I think I'll start with under 1,000 and then just do like maybe every 200 points, something like that. What's up, Jeff? What if you're over 2,000? Well, you might be waiting a little while if you're over 2,000. You can send me any game as long as it's a link to a game that's already like recorded on either chess.com or Lead Chess. So anyone under 1,000. If no one under 1,000 has a game, then we can do under 1,200. But I just want to give it a minute or two to make sure that I give people a chance. $600 to $700 just starting out. Okay, Sam, yeah. Send me a game if you have one. Okay, Crazy Train. $1,400 rapid, so you need to lose 400 points. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there next week. We'll probably do 1,000 to 1,200, then 1,200 to 1,400, and just keep going up with that. Just found your channel and enjoying the content. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. All right, I'll tell you guys what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play one game while I'm waiting for some links, just so that we're all not just staring at an empty board here. And then I'll analyze after this. How does that sound? Oh, what is this? What is this? Let's play something aggressive. Let's get some pawns out there. Now the right time to push? Probably not. Let's just develop some pieces. Probably castle. Maybe we'll play f5 or something. Okay. That looks like a risky move. Bishop f4 at the end of everything looks pretty nice. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna just trade everything and play the bishop out. So here we could play queen e1. Kind of just defend those dark squares. Probably need to kick the knight away now, but they might play h5. I don't know if it actually does anything if I push that pawn. I can go here. It's kind of a weird move, but I could try that. The knight's really annoying with the queen here. What about this move? Queen here. Yeah, I guess I can't really get the queen off that diagonal. This is a really tough position, actually. Okay, maybe can I actually get away with this? Taking and putting the bishop here. Oh, he's not gonna go for it. Okay, that's interesting. I was 100% expecting h5. Well, this looks better. Now we've kind of consolidated the weaknesses on the dark squares. So now we can start thinking about attacking this. Here, we're bringing the queen over. Bringing the knight around somehow. Okay. He's gonna go for that. I might actually try this. See if I can get my knight in there. I guess we gotta go here to defend that. I'm gonna run out of time, so we gotta go fast. Put the knight here and pile up on this, or maybe just bishop c4 first. Oh, this is gonna be hanging. I know I'm losing the bishop, but trying to do something here. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Just have no time. All right, does anyone have a game yet? Now that I'm tilted, let's analyze some games. No one under 1,000 has a game for me to analyze? No one? Okay. How do you link a game? It's challenging. So, let me see if I can show on my screen. You can just copy. The easiest thing is just to, let me bring this down a second. You can just copy the URL like this, at least on chess.com. And then I think you can do the same thing on Lichess. You just copy the URL and send me that, and it'll take me right to the game. So that's all you have to do. You sent one from Lichess. Sent one above. Oh, is YouTube blocking links? It might be. Okay, so can you message me on chess.com, I guess? Or did you email it? If you emailed it, that's fine too. Let me open up my email. I guess I wasn't very clear. You can email it, chessvibesyt@gmail, or you can send it on chess.com. Let me see if I have anyone. I don't have any emails. How did you guys send me the game? Up top. Yeah, I don't see a link in the chat. Maybe it's just not showing me links or something. Or I'm just blind, but I don't see it anywhere. Yeah, let's do this. Just send it to my email. Here you go. Let me just do this. Okay. All right, we got one from Alex. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's pull this one up. Okay. Alex, are you white or black in this game? Let's go back to the beginning. Alex is black. Okay, so let me switch this. There we go. All right. Okay, so here we go. D6. Okay. So you're playing the Burke. All right. Going for the King's Indian type setup. Knight C6. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. You're developing, and this is one way to play it. You can. So one thing to think about whenever you play these kind of hyper modern openings, which would be where you give up the center to your opponent and you kind of sit back, you always want to at some point strike back in the center. So in this version, it's usually going to be E5 or C5. So Knight C6 is fine. Just know that you are taking away this option to strike back. So now you pretty much are committed to playing E5, which is fine. That's one way to play it. So there's nothing wrong with that. But another way to do it, you could also put your knight here, and then you have kind of both options available. Sometimes you want to get the bishop out first and then put your knight there, so it's not stuck back there. But okay, that's just something to think about. But yeah, knight C6 is okay. And one other thing, I don't know if it's actually good here or not, but it might be. So, and you really could have done it at any point here. Whenever your opponent has their knight on C3, their bishop on C4, and the pawn on E4 like this, and you have the option to take it, sometimes it's actually a smart choice to capture the pawn, and when they recapture, you can fork the pieces like this. And you're going to get your piece back regardless of what white decides to do, and sometimes it can kind of open things up and it can be good. Now, I'm not familiar if in these King's Indian setups it's such a good plan. I know like in other openings usually it's a pretty good idea. So what I'll do is I'm going to click analysis just to turn on the computer for a second, because I'm curious if it recommends that or not. So let me do this and see what it says. So let's go a few moves ahead. Yeah, so it's not recommending it. Okay, now it is. Yeah, now it's saying, and you guys can't see it, but it's saying the best move is knight takes e4. And it's because of that idea. If white recaptures, now you play d5. And then bishop d3, takes, and what comes next? Yeah, you just keep developing. But yeah, that's just kind of a good way to sort of break open at the center and create some space for yourself. And it's a good, just a good tactic to keep in mind. A lot of low-rated players don't even think about the fact that you can sack that and then fork the pieces. So anyway, that was a long explanation for that, but just keep that in mind. Like, that's an option for you. Yeah. All right. So let's keep going. So knight c6, nothing wrong with that. Okay, so that's a little bit of a weird move, putting the knight on the rim before developing. e5. Okay, so this is pretty standard. Like, this is how you would want to play this opening. Knight d4. Yeah, this is okay. One thing I'll tell you about going forward like this, knights, whenever a pawn drives a knight somewhere and you go forward, you always have to ask yourself, is there a risk that the knight's going to get trapped, right? Because the pawn is controlling where you would probably normally retreat to. This is also taken away. This is taken away. So right now, like, the knight can't really move anywhere. Now it's in a good spot, don't get me wrong. But if white were to somehow move this knight somewhere and play the move c3, your knight's probably going to be trapped. So that's just something you have to watch out for, right? Like, for example, if white at this, well, white doesn't want to do it right now because they'd be losing this pawn, which is bad. But eventually they might move this knight and you have to watch out for c3. So just keep that in mind. And if you are in a situation where you could get trapped, then the other option would be just come back here. But yeah, anyway, just keep that in mind, because I know that's something that sometimes you don't think about, and then it happens and you're like, oh, my knight is trapped. Okay, knight b5. Let me turn off these things for a second. I just want to not see all the bright colors. Yeah, I mean, knight b5, first of all, this pawn is undefended. So I think if I was playing this game, I would probably just trade first, just to eliminate the tension there. And then I would probably take this pawn. And not only am I winning the pawn, I'm also unleashing my queen on this awkward knight over here. Okay, you just took it right away, which is fine. Because if this, you can just recapture. So I don't think that's a problem. This is still a good move. So I like that. Okay. Yeah, so you had the right idea. This is perfect. You're taking the pawn. You're unleashing the attack here. I'm thinking if I feel like I would have rather taken this knight and left that one, but there is benefit to bringing your queen over here because it's a more aggressive place for your queen. The only thing I'm thinking is that if we take this way, we still have the attack on this knight, and it's kind of an awkwardly placed knight. It's probably going to have to just go back here to f3, and then maybe it allows us to put the bishop on g4, which looks pretty good. It's kind of an annoying pin, but I don't know. Maybe that's not true. So, I mean, queen h4 might be actually good. Let's see what the engine says. They're both basically the same, so either way is fine. Okay, so let's just go forward with it. I think queen h4 is fine. Knight f3, queen e7. Okay. Queen e7. So if I'm playing this game, I think I would probably go here, because I like the fact that it's, you know, I can follow bishop g4 next. The knight's going to be pinned. Very aggressive location for my queen. And also, like, once, like, let's say the queen's here, the bishop's here, I can bring this rook over, and now my rook is going to be involved. I can start pushing this pawn forward, probably. I kind of have all my pieces sort of set up. Bringing the queen back here, it's just a little bit more passive. Your queen doesn't have quite as many options. So this is something like whenever you bring the queen out and it gets attacked by a knight, just dropping it back one square, a lot of times is a safe place for your queen to be, because the knight can't do anything to attack it. Right away. It's going to take several moves, so that's kind of what I would think through. But okay, queen e7, it's not a bad move by any means. Queen d3, f5, yeah, very, very nice. I like that. That's exactly, I think, what I would have played. Although, yeah, that's good. So I was going to say knight c5 attacking the queen and then forking, but it's not really forking because the queen's going to move. So I think f5 is perfect. Okay, that looks like a free piece. You took it. Okay. Yeah. Queen f6. Okay, so this is good. I think you saw the pin from the rook, and so you wanted to get out of the way. So yeah, that's great. Okay, perfect. Should d7. Yeah, that's a good move. One thing you can consider, this is perfect, by the way, because you're going to get ready for your rook, but since you are ahead a piece now, trading is a good thing, because if you get to an endgame up a piece, your piece is going to just take a bunch of pawns and you're going to have an easy game. So queen d4, forcing the queen trade here, I actually like that. It forces the game to move forward and go towards the endgame. But, you know, bishop e7 is a really good move too. So queen e7, okay, so he's going to trade for you. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice move. You want to make sure when you play a move like this that everything is defended, but you're good. Everything is defended. So yeah, that's totally fine. So yeah. Okay, very good. You did the capture first, and then you took. Okay, I think here I would have taken with the bishop, only because most likely I want my rook to go on this open file. And when I take with the rook, now I can't really go there right away. And so it's probably going to take me 2 moves, or, you know, 2 moves like this to get where I really want the rook. Also, it blocks my bishop. And so by taking with the bishop, it just immediately is in a nice spot and my rook can just slide over. But that's a small thing, but just, you know, for future reference, try to think like, where do you want your pieces to be placed and which capture is going to help you make that happen. So I would probably go with this, but you know, it's not a big deal. Okay. Ooh, all right. So yeah, this is a hard one to see. But discovered checks are very dangerous. Now, at this moment, before you played c6, this pawn is not going anywhere, right? But as soon as you play c6, you give it the option to not only move and put you in check, but also create a very significant threat. So you got to just watch out for those discover checks. One thing that I like to do is whenever there's a long range piece, if it's a rook, bishop, queen, and it's lined up on my king, even if there are a bunch of pieces in between, you want to be like thinking through that, because pieces move in chess, right? So even if there's like, you know, bishop sitting here and there's like 3 pieces in the way, you have to think like, well, what if some of those start to move out of the way? Like, am I going to be coming in check? And so if you are thinking of that, you might have, you know, maybe saw this move. See if your opponent, yeah, your opponent didn't play it. Okay. You saved your rook. Now they did. All right. So yeah, this is kind of puts you in a tough spot. If you want to save the bishop, you have to go here. Let's see if you saw that. Yeah. So that's a tough one to see also. I guess what I would say is remember that you can get out of check multiple ways, right? You don't always have to move your king. You can block a check. And so this way you can save your bishop because the knight's defending it and you're getting out of this attack at the same time as blocking this. So kind of what you want to do is identify all the threats in the position. So here's a threat, here's a threat, here's your threat. And then you would say, okay, what are the biggest issues? Well, obviously you have to get out of check. That's the big one. And then the next biggest one would be this bishop. And so you would want to ask yourself, do I have one move that kind of solves 2 problems at the same time? And you know, oh yeah, I can move my bishop and now I'm not in check and I can't take it. So that's kind of how I would think through that. Because after this, yeah, you're losing your piece and now it's probably a little bit better for white, but let's see. Okay, so that's a good move, getting your rook on the open file. Yeah, so I think, you know, this is just a trade from the standpoint of, okay, you're getting a pawn and you're losing a pawn, right? So that's even. But the question that you want to ask is, by doing that, how does it affect the mobility or the placement of the pieces? So like your bishop ends up on b2. Is that like a better square than where it's at currently? Not really. It's kind of the same diagonal, and like these two moves aren't really going to matter much, right? So that doesn't really improve your bishop much by going there. But then does it improve your opponent's rook? Well, yeah, it kind of does, because now that rook is like attacking your knight. It has options to like go different places. It seems like a more aggressive place. So what I'm thinking is I might have liked to maybe try to defend this pawn, or, you know, not let white do that. Maybe do some sort of counterattack. Let's actually turn on the computer on this one, because this is a tough position. Let's see what it recommends. Yeah, so it's saying rook to c8. So making a counterattack to try to get your rook better involved. And I'm just curious, if they take the pawn, I think the idea is that, yeah, even though they can take your knight, what you've done now is you've traded some stuff, but now you end up with a really active rook on the 7th rank here. And so the king moves somewhere, and you know, this is a very powerful rook. Now you have to watch out. You gotta be careful here. So you need, let's see, yeah, you need to move this bishop somewhere. But the point and the kind of the key takeaway is, especially in situations like this at the end of the game, where you're going to maybe be trading a couple pawns or something, you want to see which way gives you the most active piece and doesn't give your opponent the most active piece. And so like by bringing your rook here and making the trade this way, you end up with a really active rook here. So that's tough. It comes with experience, I think, to kind of get a good feel on those. But okay, so you took this. Oh yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, let me see something. I think one thing, so you played, like right here, you played these moves really quick. You just took like a couple seconds to just move your king over. And then again, you moved in like a few seconds. And so I would say maybe slow down a little bit, because you still had 3 minutes. That's a lot of time. Especially when you get to the end game like this, you know, one mistake at a moment like this is probably going to cost you the game, right? Like if you end up losing a piece, or like in the game, you get checkmate, it's just over. So I think it's worth to slow down a little bit. Now you were behind on time, but you still had a lot of time. So that's kind of my advice. Yeah, this is tough to see, because you're trying to put your knight on a good square. I get that. It was attacked. You had to move it. You know, this is a nice square. I just missed the fact that it blocked the bishop. So that happens. That'll come with practice. Always kind of be looking out for checks. And so before you make a move, you want to do a blunder check of like, can my opponent put me in check? Oh yeah, there's a bishop. Okay. And then you got to ask yourself, what am I going to do? Oh, I can't move anywhere. So, okay. But overall, I mean, you played well. You had the game. You had it when you were up the piece, right? And then here, everything was perfect right here. This was great. You just traded a bunch of stuff. The recapture there was a small thing, probably with the bishop, but okay. Even here, it was this discovered check, right, that really just turned the game. And so, important point about chess, you can play like 90% of the game really well, and if you mess up at the wrong moment, you can still lose. So that's the big takeaway. Try to play like 100% of the game as accurate as you can, right? So anyway, nice game. Thanks, Alex. And looks like we got a few more games. So how do I send the game? You can email it to me, chessvibesyt@gmail.com. I'm only doing under 1,000 rated right now. We'll do higher rated in the future. How am I going to choose? I'm probably just going to go in the order that the emails come in, unless somebody throws out a super chat, then maybe I'll do that one. But yeah, I think I'll just go with the order that they come in. Oh wow, we got quite a few. Yeah, so probably aren't going to get through all of these, unfortunately, because I don't have like all night, but I'll do as many as I can. So all right, next one is from Jermaine. Pull this one up and we'll take a look. Okay, Jermaine, let's go to the beginning. Jermaine looks like black. Okay. So this is a 15-minute game, and here we go. Okay, so Caro-Kann. I don't know the Caro-Kann that well, but I'm pretty sure this is a main line. I don't know if G4 is... I don't know if that's a main line. Looks pretty scary. Okay, so I don't play the Caro-Kann, but what I can tell you is if your opponent plays this, let's see, yeah. If your bishop gets stuck like this, it probably is not going to be good. I mean, that just doesn't look like how this opening is supposed to go. Now, I can verify that in a second, but just before I even do that, what I would recommend, instead of h6, there's a hole right here that your opponent has kind of created for you because they've advanced both of these pawns. And so I would play bishop e4. That's what I would play, like, just immediately. I mean, that looks like an awesome bishop, right? Now, it might end up getting traded later, but, like, looks like knight f3 is probably the only way for white to save the rook. So knight f3. And then I'm thinking, like, e6, and now I've got ideas of bringing my queen here later after maybe we trade, and there could be weaknesses along this diagonal. And worst case, something happens, like, okay, the knight comes in and you're like, I'm going to lose my bishop. No, you just trade it off, and it's not a big deal. I would rather have a traded off bishop than, if we go back to the game, have a bishop that's, like, hitting a wall like this. Now, you probably can try to get it out and attack that, and maybe that could work out. Let's actually look at the line real quick. So this is a good habit to get into when you're playing your games. You can just you can use the computer to do it, or you can actually pull up the like an opening explorer. And so I'm gonna just do that over here on the side. I'm gonna pull up like the chess. I just like to use their opening explorer, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm just gonna, basically what I'm gonna do, maybe I can show you guys this too. Here, let's see if I can get this to fit on the screen. So I'm gonna go through the moves and see. Usually I'll turn on masters, because if you turn on masters, you know you're gonna be looking at like the better moves, right? So d4, d5, e5, bishop f5, definitely the main line. And now I'm looking for g4. Okay, and I don't see, there's g4. Not played a ton, but it is played some. So I'm gonna click on it and I'm gonna see what the best move is. And I'm looking also at, you see the percentages, like who wins the most? I want to look at lines where black has a pretty good win rate. So bishop, let's see, bishop g6 looks pretty good, and I think that's what you played. And then let's see, did white ever play f4? No, white never played f4. Okay, so we can't really check that one. But then what I would do is turn on the engine and just see what does the computer say. Okay, so the computer actually likes e6. Okay, and then I would kind of use that as I go, you know, just to see. All right, so let's go back to the game. Now that we know that, basically g4, bishop g6, and then the computer said e6. So the point is you're not letting white do that right away to trap your bishop, basically, right? Now if white plays this, you can just take it, or even better, you can just go here and go for their king, because they've created some serious weaknesses by pushing these pawns forward. And that brings me to another important point. So whenever your opponent makes a move, especially if it's kind of like a weird move like this, you want to like ask yourself, okay, what kind of weaknesses have they created by doing that? And so the first thing that I notice is like, well, they've opened up this diagonal. So I'm immediately thinking, maybe I want to play bishop e4 at some point. Now, maybe right now is not the right time, because they can just play f3 and I have to move. But even then, f3, I'm like, okay, well, now they've created a weakness here. So maybe I want to go there just to make them do that, because I'm going to take advantage of that weakness, right? So those are the things you want to be thinking through. Okay, but let's try to move on. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but I think it's important. Like, these are the things that, you know, you don't want your game to get off to a bad start. So you want to think through these things right from the beginning. Some people think that they can play like the first 10 moves without thinking. It doesn't work that way, especially if your opponent's playing these really super aggressive moves. So anyway, back to what I was saying. Creating weaknesses, this is a huge weakness right here, right? So I want to start thinking about, when can I do this and take advantage of that. Okay. But anyway, you saw the bishop was going to get trapped, and you did create a place for it to go. So it's not terrible. Knight d7, okay. This looks very scary to me because of the move e6. Was that played in the game? No. So if your opponent played this, they could take. What I don't like about this position, like let's say we move the knight over here, I don't like that this pawn is basically, we're just all jammed up here, right? Like this is not how the opening phase is supposed to go. You don't want this pawn stopping your piece from being developed. Now, maybe we can somehow capture this pawn, like we can try queen d6 later, but even that, white can probably prevent that. We could try queen c8, but then there's queen e2, and it just looks really, really risky for us. So you got to be careful when there's pawns very far advanced, especially if they can push forward and blockade one of your central pawns. That's usually a big deal, right? Because you need to get your pieces out. Sorry, and I can't draw diagonals apparently. And if that happens, you're not going to be able to. So that's something that I would be afraid of this move. And yeah, maybe like I think probably e6 is better, because now you're like guaranteeing that, okay, this bishop's going to be able to get out. And at this push, it's not the same thing. You have 3 pieces that can take that, so you're going to be able to capture any pawn, and you don't have to worry, right? And if this trades, well then, okay, now your bishop is free. So I would have played e6 here and not knight d7 because of that reason. Okay, so bishop d2. Now you played it. All right, so good. But you know, if your opponent was on their toes, they probably would have played that. So bishop h3. Okay. You took this pawn. So here's the thing. This bishop is not totally involved in the game. Like it's kind of lined up, okay, but there's 2 pawns in the way first. And for example, like if white tries to capture here at some point, you could just take it and the bishop's not involved. When you trade, now the bishop is starting to become more involved. And now this move e6 is very scary, because takes, and guess what? That bishop is like lined up. So I think I wouldn't take this. I wouldn't take that. Generally speaking, when your pieces are like trapped like this, you want to attack the base of the pawn chain, so it would be right here. So maybe something like h5 would be a move I would consider. It's risky though, because then you allow like pieces to come here. So I'm not a Caro-Kann player, but yeah, getting the bishop kind of stuck back here, I think just made this game pretty difficult to play regardless. So okay, yeah, and now e6 comes. Yeah, so this is pretty tough to play, but let's see how we do. Knight f6, that's a good move. Knight c3, knight f5. Okay, that's pretty good. Trying to make some space and get this bishop out. I like that. Queen e2, c5. Okay, c5. My initial instinct tells me this is a very scary move to play because of the weaknesses that you create here. Now I'm afraid that the queen's going to come in. I'm afraid that the knight's going to come in. I'm afraid that I might lose this pawn at some point in the future. c6 seemed like it was doing a good job defending those. Now I understand you're trying to like create some counterplay, but I would consider this a very defensive position. Like if I'm playing black here, I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to not get checkmated. This pawn is very annoying. My bishop's kind of okay. You know, like I want to complete my development and maybe castle. So I want to move this bishop somewhere. Maybe d6, maybe queen e7. Give myself the option to castle either side. I think I want to do that before I start trying to counterattack in the center. Because like once you go here and these things get traded off and it gets opened up, I mean, white's pretty much ready. They're going to castle. They're going to have a rook lined up on you now. This rook's going to come over somewhere. So basically don't open up the center unless you're ready, is what I would say. And I don't think you're ready at this moment. So don't really like c5 there because of that reason. Okay, so takes. Castle. Yeah, see, like I feel like this is probably not going to end well, but let's see what happens. So you did castle. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, this is, you know, it's tough castling with open files on your king, but you do have a lot of pieces over here, so I think you can get away with that. But let's see what happens. So he traded. Okay, I don't really like that trade on his part, but yeah, okay, they were trying to get the fork and forgot that you could just take it. Okay, so that's good. You just took that. Fine. Yep, that's a good move. Creating some nice threats there. I like that. Okay, you force the knight back. Yeah, so now you're playing well. You're moving your pieces in. Yep. Okay, white blundered the piece. That's really good. Rook f7. This is yeah, I guess you have to do that, don't you? I was thinking normally I would want to move my king over, because once you go to h8, there's like no more checks you have to worry about along these diagonals, and it doesn't put your rook into a pin. But it does look like this move is going to be really not good for you. Actually, I'm going to turn on the engine on this one, because I want to see what it says about that moment. Yeah, okay. So you're way ahead here. Yeah, it doesn't like that. It actually likes king h7, probably to put an extra defender there. I mean, I guess this is what happened in the game. This move happened anyway, a little bit later. Yeah, okay. It's a tough position. The first thing I'll say, it's a tough position. Let me see how long you spent on this move. Yeah, you spent a good amount of time thinking. That's good. Sometimes people just like instantly move these moves. That it's tricky because normally, here's the thing. Normally you don't want to put your pieces in pins, because now your rook is not going to be able to move, and your king can't really move either, because now it's going to get captured. So I don't like that. That being said, this looks also pretty risky because of this idea, and then like takes, and now you have to watch out for check. So it's not an easy position. I guess that's why the computer liked here better, because it's, you don't put yourself in the pin. You also kind of add a defender there so that you can just recapture if white tried to do that. But okay, tough position. Yeah, and this is the other issue, that now you have to watch out for this. If your bishop tries to take, then you're losing this rook. Queen f8. Bishop d5 is the best move. Ooh, bishop d5. That is like, yeah, I don't even. Okay, maybe I would have found that move. It makes sense. You're basically defending the rook with the bishop, because if the queen tries to take and put you in check, you just take it, and if the rook takes, you take the queen. So it's a nice little tactical way to kind of defend everything and keep your advantage. That's just going to come with doing lots of tactics and with time. That's not something that I would expect someone around 1,000 to see. So yeah, I don't feel bad that you missed that. You were trying to defend with queen f8. I get that. Okay. Yeah, so they could have just taken your bishop. And this goes back to what I was saying about putting your rook in the pin. Now you can kind of see why that's usually not a good thing, because it's not doing anything. It's not even defending your bishop like you would think it would be. So that all really happened because of the pin there. So okay, so bishop d5 was kind of the only way. They didn't see it. Now you get out of the pin, which is good. All right, bishop takes. You took because it looks like everything's defended. Okay, and now it's just kind of a matter of getting out of the checks. Very nice. Whenever they're lined up, you want to ask yourself if you can take advantage of that. Yeah, so okay, so here, that's fine. You took a queen. You can't complain about taking a queen, but you could have actually taken the rook, and you still have the pin on the queen. You're gonna get the queen next move, and right now you're just getting free rook, basically. So this kind of goes back to, if you have a good move, maybe look for a better move. But yeah, I mean, okay. Queen. Trading is good because you're ahead of queen. Obviously, you want to do that. Bringing the other piece in, perfect. And I'm assuming that you didn't lose this game. Just win. Ooh, okay, that's makes it a little more difficult, but hoping that you actually won this. Yeah, okay, so would have been. Let's go back. So. You had plenty of time. I'm trying to think through, like, because you're keeping him in check. That's good. I guess what I would say is in a position like this, when you have the ability to continually put your opponent in check, you probably want to do it just so that stuff like this doesn't happen, where it's like, oops, there goes my queen. You know, like you didn't have to even give this guy or girl, whoever, you didn't even have to give them a chance. You could have played a move like queen c5 check. Even here it's check, right? And then if they take, you can bring the queen down. I guess this comes with tactics. You'll start to see these things, but when you're way ahead, that's kind of one thing. Or yeah, I don't know, that's stuff that happens sometimes. Like you think you can't lose, and you kind of, okay, but then here you simplified, and yeah, you can't catch the queen. Okay. Yeah, all right. So yeah, biggest thing in the opening there, just try not to let your bishop get trapped like that when you play the Caro-Kann. Even if you have to trade it off for a knight, it's going to be better than it getting stuck like that. But yeah, I hope that helped, Jermaine. And let me just read a few comments here, I guess. How to submit a game. You know what, guys? I have a ton of games already submitted in my email, so probably just going to go with those right now. Okay, I'm not seeing like any immediate questions, so let me go to the next game. And here we go. All right, Tyler. Tyler's white. Tyler is white. Okay. And let's go back to the beginning. You know what? I'm just going to hit analysis on this one just so I have it ready. All right. Tyler's white, and it's a 10-minute game. Okay. Here we go. So, all right, we got a Scandinavian. Ooh, Icelandic Gambit. Okay, so it's a scary opening. Although Black didn't play it quite as he probably should have, but okay, you're doing good. Developing. That's great. Okay. All right, I like the counter attack there. I like it. Yeah, I mean, this looks good. I can't complain about anything so far. Okay. Interesting move. All right, so yeah, you played good. I mean, this is a nice position. I really like this position for white. You have the bishop pair, even though you're losing this pawn. This is great. I mean, this is really nice. You have both bishops lined up on the king. You have your queen in a good spot. You have open files, open diagonals. You can put your rooks basically wherever you want. This is fantastic. So let's see. Okay, I don't like that move. I don't like just trading off a bishop for a knight. So bishop pair is very good because bishops can control any square on the board when you have the pair, right? If you only have one bishop, well, now your opponent can say, all right, there's a white squared bishop. I'm going to put all my pieces on dark squares, and you know, you can't do anything, right? You literally can't do anything. The bishop can never attack them. When you have the bishop pair, they can't do that. So that's one thing. The other thing is bishops are just, you know, long range pieces. They work very well, very effective in open positions. This is an open position, right? There's nothing blocking these diagonals until they get to the king. So this guy's awesome. So if I'm playing this game, I'm probably going to go bishop b2. Let's see, what is the... Oh, Engine actually likes this trade. Okay, well, there you go. You played the Engine move. But from normally speaking, I wouldn't trade this. Maybe even like, you know, pinning it would be a move I would think about. Yeah, Engine likes that. Engine likes that as a second choice. So then you're bringing in your rook. And it's actually, I don't know how... I mean, they can play c6, but then that's going to create like a weakness there. So that's probably what I would play. Or bishop b2. But I'm not going to trade right at this moment. Yes, you know, you can trade and take a pawn, but I would like to attack the king if possible. But anyway, all right. So you did do that. Okay, and this is still a good position. I mean, that was a big blunder. And then that was a big blunder. Wow, okay. So all right, let's see. Offering the 2 rooks for the queen. It's okay. I think that's fine. I think your queen would do well in this position, so I don't mind that. And then, yeah, so you missed, I guess you missed the double attack here, so that's one thing. Yeah, I mean, just gotta watch out for like these attacks. I don't really know what else to tell you there. It was a fork, I guess, hitting both of these, so you're probably just trying to defend that. Okay, that makes sense. And you're creating this, I guess, attack. Yeah, it's a good idea now that I think about that, but it's with check. You can't lose a rook with check. That's because then black gets the rook, and then they can do something else to defend, right? So you just really can't let that happen. How long did you spend on this move? Yeah, you play this move in 4 seconds. That's a little too fast. That's a little too fast, especially when there's a queen involved. You got to take the time to make sure you analyze everything that's going on. So I would say slow down there. You're way ahead on the clock. You're like twice the time of your opponent, so definitely need to slow down there. Okay. Now it's just pretty much losing. A rook is a lot to come back from. Although they did give you a chance there. Okay, yeah, this is just a little tactical opportunity. You've got the fork here on the king and the queen with the bishop, and if they take it, you can just take the rook. Then you actually are probably winning because the pawn is so far advanced. That's a little more difficult one to see, but with time and practice, those will start jumping out at you. Basically, I think it's called what's it called? Deflection, or removing the guard, or removing the defender. Basically, you're forcing the queen away from the defense of the rook, or you're just going to take the queen, and then if this, you're going to get another queen. So either way, it's going to be good for you. All right. Anyway, queen here. Okay. I mean, there's not much to be done here when you're down on a rook at this late in the game. Okay, that was a nice little trick to try to get back in the game. Okay, well, a good try. Wow, okay. Yeah, your opponent just needed to play here, right? I guess is the move, or... Yeah. Even queen e6 check is good, right? But okay. This is actually really good. This is a good learning lesson. Like, even if you're losing, especially if you're under 1,000, like, don't give up. Figure out a way to create some sort of threat that your opponent might not see, right? Like, okay, let's go for checkmate. And then again, it's like, okay, let's go for checkmate. So good job. Who's getting Tyler? Yeah, good job, Tyler. Like, very nice. Of course, it's stoppable, right? But sometimes they miss it. So, you know, at least give yourself a chance to win the game, right? This person was clearly focused on moving the pawn for a while, and so they could have also maybe just played this move or something. You never know. So, nice job. Okay. All right, good game. Let's see who is next. Okay. This one is from Cesar. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And Cesar, are you white or black? Let me know. Let me know if you can. I guess I have to read the... Yeah, Tyler, no problem. Cesar, let me know what color you are. And let me see. How do you submit games? Well, I already have like a backlog now of games, so probably aren't gonna get to them tonight, but Cesar was black. Okay, so yeah, the next couple games, if you guys are wondering, we've got Dante, Joseph, Josh, Bobby. Yeah, those are a couple of them. I may have skipped one in there, but all right. So he's black. Let's go ahead and click analysis here, just so we have this ready, and we'll flip the board. All right, 10-minute game. Let's go. Let's go. Sicilian. Okay. I don't actually know the open Sicilian very well, but it looks okay. Okay. All right. So this is good. You know, you have a weakness, obviously, but you're trying to make the most of what you do have, which is the bishop, and unleashing it on the diagonal is a nice idea. So yeah, and he takes it and makes your life easy to get both bishops. So that's good. Okay. You didn't trade queens. I like that you didn't trade queens. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not really a better place for your queen to go, is there? Because everything's kind of covered by those knights, huh? Yeah, all right, so queen c8. I like that. I think if you have the bishops lined up on the king, keeping queens on the board is a good idea. So I like that. Okay. And then not trading the bishop, I think is fine too. Okay, you get your rook over. That's nice. b6. Yeah, I mean, okay, attacking the queen. The knight's defended, so you can do that. And I don't see anything else that jumps out at me right away. That's a pretty nice move, actually. Yeah, this is good. Sometimes these moves are hard to see, like the bringing the rooks up like that to do something, but that's a good move because you're gaining tempo on this queen with all these moves, so that's very nice. Knight d4. Okay. Yeah, I mean, from a quick glance, that looks like a smart choice. And the engine is not complaining, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. Okay, so you're trading it off. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so the engine finds this move, which... Yeah, this is pretty common, I guess. When you can... Okay, so how would I think through this? I guess you have this attack. Okay, here's how I would think through this. First of all, I'm thinking like, all right, my rook's under attack. What if I just take, and take? And I'm getting 2 pieces for the rook. That's usually a good thing. So that's kind of the first thing that my brain would probably think about. And then I would think like, well, what other kind of captures can I do? And then maybe this pops in your head. It is a more difficult one to see, but this idea of like getting this, and then, you know, let's say the queen moves, and then you take, and now you're just up a whole piece, which is even better, right? So doing tactics puzzles is probably gonna help with that. But okay, you did this, which I guess you're up a piece this way too. What am I even saying? Yeah, this is fine. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry, guys. Brain's not working. Brain's not. This is fine. You did great. What am I even saying? All right. Yeah, this is good. This is good. You got your rook perfect here on the second rank. Taking pawns. The phrase pigs on the 7th. Bishop f8. I'm not sure what the idea. I guess you were afraid of this, but you could have just taken the pawn and then done that later, right? So, like, rook comes down, you trade, and then you can block. So I probably would have just taken that, and then you've got 3 ready to go. But okay, trying to plan ahead. It's not terrible. You end up getting it anyway. I wouldn't have checked there because this guy wants to bring his king into the game anyway. So by checking, you kind of wasted a move because he was going to probably do that anyway. But okay, it's not a big deal. All right, you defended. Okay, yes. Taking pawns, great. Pushing pawns, great. Ooh, I'm not sure what this move was. You know, one thing I'll say is we've seen a couple of these moves at the end of the game where players were like way ahead and then they did a move where it's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I guess I would say, It's probably overconfidence, because it happens to me too. Sometimes I'm in a game and I'm like, oh, there's no way I can possibly lose this. And then it's like you kind of let your guard down. So I guess my advice would be, don't let your guard down. Like, chess is, it's very easy to take a loss or a one game and lose it, right? So be careful. I mean, you just got to push the pawn. Like, you don't even need to move this right now. So I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, and then sometimes one blunder follows with multiple blunders. Okay, even here, you're totally fine. Don't panic. Just go take this pawn and win. That's what I would do. I'm just guessing maybe we're gonna get a stalemate. No, okay, now you're gonna go do it. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. So you need to work on some king and pawn endings. Basically, the thing about king and pawn endings is, if your king and pawn ever get like this, and your opponent's king is in front of it somewhere, like here or here or here, anywhere like this, it's a draw. It's always a draw. They're going to be able to draw by using opposition. You're never going to be able to win. So the way that you can win is either, number one, if you can completely box out the king from coming back, which you're not quite in time to do that, right? Like, if you could have had an extra move here, like if it was your turn and you go here, you completely box out the king from getting to the pawn. That's one way to win. Now, in this case, you can't do that. The other way to win is to keep your king well in front of the pawn. Okay, so maybe like move here, or even here probably is going to be a win. Let me check the engine. King b3, king b4. Yeah, both of those moves are winning. So, but the point is, keep your king in front of the pawn. So let's say we go here, and now white has to make a choice. They can either try to go this way to stop us, or they can try to come here. If they come here, well, you've kind of essentially boxed out the king, like we talked about before. Now you can start pushing your pawn. Because what are they going to do here? Okay, you just keep the opposition, keep them boxed out, and keep pushing your pawn. And eventually, you get this position, and now you just slide over and you go. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, the other thing that they could do, instead of going for that, is they could try to come this way, right? And what you can do now is push your pawn. And normally, once they get opposition, you're in trouble, and it forces you to have to move to the side. But because our king is so far in front of the pawn, guess what? We have a special little move. It's called a waiting move, where we can be like, I don't want to move my king to the side. I'm going to move my pawn instead. And guess what? Now we have opposition, and they have to move their king. Okay, so whatever, doesn't really matter. And now it allows us to jump up and gain control of the queening square. All right, so the important moment in the game was right here. See, you never want your pawn to come up and be next to your king. And so as soon as you played this, you lost your advantage. Now, look, how are you ever going to get out of opposition? You can't. You always have to move to the side. Your opponent always can just block you off. And then eventually you get this, which we know is a draw, right? Draw every time. So, you had the right idea of, okay, let's give up these pawns, go get this one and win, but you just had to keep your king in front. Okay, but that was pretty instructive, so thanks for sending that end game there. Okay, so we got a super chat, so thank you, Esteban, for the super chat. So yes, I guess I will give priority, obviously, to the super chats. So we'll do Esteban's next. Let me see. Let's see. Should be close on the list. Yes, I see it. Okay. You are playing black. Okay. Usually you play the Caro and you struggle against d4. Okay. You get into strange positions. All right. Yeah. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Esteban's black. All right. So let me go turn on the analysis. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to move that. Let's flip this around. Okay. You do one thing. Okay. So, well, first of all, if you like the Caro pawn, I mean, I guess you could play the just play d5 is what I would recommend. And if like you get the queen's gambit, you just play c6, and you're probably going to be in pretty familiar territory. You can play almost similar to the Caro-Kann. You can like try to get this bishop out somewhere at some point, and you know, e6, knight of 6, do normal stuff that you would do in the Caro-Kann. That would be my advice. And if they don't play c4, obviously you could still do the same thing if you want. Do c6, get the bishop out, develop your knight. You know, if you're comfortable with those kind of positions, that would be one thing. Don't feel like you have to play these Indian systems if you know you're not comfortable with them. That being said, let's see how this game goes. Okay, so yeah, this is fine. This is Grunfeld, I believe. Grunfeld type of setup, which is pretty good. Yeah, so London, okay, everybody loves to play the London setups. Yeah, I think you did okay. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think I would probably play like c5 and then try to get my knight on c6. It's a little bit more aggressive square for the knight, but okay, this isn't bad. Let me turn off these things for a second. All right, so b6, I don't like b6 so much because you're taking away options for your queen. Like sometimes these are good places for your queen to go. As soon as you play b6, you don't really have a good place for your queen so necessarily. Yeah, these positions are hard to play. Once you get your pieces developed, it's kind of like, okay, what do you do? And basically you have to always be monitoring like what happens if one player trades here, or if this happens, or if I take here. You know, probably bringing a rook to this file is a smart idea because it looks like that's going to be useful regardless of which way things end up happening. I would probably consider that move. Like I said, b6 does block your queen from sometimes throwing the queen out on a5 or b6 is a good place for it. Like b6 is kind of annoying because you've got your bishop on f5, so the rook can't defend, so that might be one thing to consider. All right, but let's see what happened. b6. Look with the knight. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you saw this or not, but you got to watch out for that. Now, in this case, it's totally fine because they lose the bishop. But if that wasn't there, you'd be losing a piece. But it works in this case. So, okay. I think that's great. Yeah. So now you're at... Yeah, this is pretty good now. So you got into a good position. I mean, you didn't play the opening bad. Now, if you don't like that kind of position, you don't like that kind of opening, then I would say maybe go for the Slav. But you didn't really mess this up. So this is I mean, this is like great for black. If you end up with this position out of the opening, you can't complain at all. You got the bishop, you got this nice center of pawns. Wow, these are some top level moves here, leaving the knight hanging to go for the bishop h6. Okay, so I guess you just didn't realize that it wasn't defended and you thought you were I don't know, I'm not sure about that move. Yeah, that's just a blunder, so you gotta watch out for, like, you know, the piece is defended. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, that makes it difficult, and your opponent really could have just taken here first, but okay. So now you're still in the... Oh, and then they take with the queen. Oh, yeah, okay. So that... All right, well, you're still ahead, but yeah, that was not good. All right, so at this point in the game, you know, you have to get out of checks and push your pawn to get a queen. That's what you need to do. So see if you were able to do that. Okay, let's see. I feel like... I feel like right at this moment, if I'm playing this game, I'm just going to be like, let's push the pawn. Because if you get the pawn here and it's defended by your queen, guess what? This queen, it can't move anywhere. It has to just sit there and guard the pawn unless the king can come over. But then you can probably push at least like d3 and e4. is going to really tie down white's pieces more. Going for this pawn kind of doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't really significantly change the game much. What does change the game is if your opponent's going to be able to get a whole bunch of checks on you. So if I'm going to play a move in this position, it's either going to be push my pawn, because that's going to really start to tie down my opponent's queen, or I'm going to prevent the checks. So maybe I'm going to play a move like queen c5 and go into that endgame where I have a protected pass pawn already, which should be winning. Or maybe I'm going to play a move like maybe queen d7, queen e6, just to take away this check. Although there is this one over here, I'm just noticing now. So yeah, that's pretty tricky actually. King f8, does that get away from, yeah. The point is, like, I don't think taking that pawn really helps you. Because, and it's even like double pawn, so you're not even getting like an extra pass pawn. But okay. Let's see what happened. I think this is probably a draw if he plays correctly, but could be wrong. Yeah, now it is. There's a perpetual check now. Okay. So what did you need to do? Let's see. I'm going to use the engine to help, because this is a tough position to play for sure. You have to avoid the perpetual check. So queen to d5. Interesting. Looks like it wants you to run your king back, and then the queen can help shield from the checks. Whereas once you play this move, you can't really get out of the checks. So queen h3, the queen can just go back and forth and keep checking you, basically. Okay, so yeah, but let's go back to I think your main question was about the opening. You played the opening great. I mean, you didn't do anything wrong. But if you don't like these positions, then yeah, I would say just play d5 right away and then follow it up with like c6, and you'll probably get more similar positions to the Caro-Kann. That's what I would say. Okay, hopefully that helped. Thanks for the super chat, by the way, Esteban. 3D services, thank you, appreciate that. You just watched the 23 mating pattern video. Okay, let me see what time it is. I can do a couple more games, so let me see who's next. All right. Looks like we got Dante next. Oh, Dante, what color are you? I don't know what color you are, so maybe I'll just go to the next one for now. I guess going forward, guys, make sure you let me know what color you are. Joseph, also need to know what color you are. This game is Joseph's. Joseph or Dante, let me know what color you are and I will hop over. Dante's, let me read the chat. Yeah, Esteban, no problem. You got it, buddy. I'm looking for Joseph or Dante. What color are you? I'm black, Bobby. Oh, there's Dante's name. Guess I could have read that. Bobby? I'm black, Bobby. Is that a different link? Oh yeah, Bobby. I see Bobby. Okay. I don't see Dante or Joseph. So S5s, want to show us one of your recent games you're pretty proud of? That's a good idea, actually. Good idea. Let me just finish out. I guess I'll do Bobby's since he's responding. So I'll do Bobby's. Bobby's black, and then I'll show you a game. Yeah, sure. That's a good idea. Okay. All right. Okay, these aren't gonna work on lead chess, so I'm just gonna turn these off for right now. But Bobby is black, I believe you said. Yeah, black. All right, so there we go. Bobby's black, and you're playing at 2100. He was playing at 2100, so I'm gonna guess Bobby didn't win this one. Okay. What's up, Jay? Hey, better late than never, right? Okay, I don't know this line. I guess you play, if you want the Stafford Gambit, is it knight c6? Yeah, you can play the Stafford Gambit. Okay. So, yeah. The thing is, this is it's kind of a tricky opening. So unless you've studied a little theory, I don't know that I would recommend playing this. I would probably just keep it a little more normal with like knight c6, just kind of defending your pawn and going from there. You can play this, it's an opening, but you probably want to study a little bit because it does get a little tricky with some of the queen stuff happening here. So that's my advice. Like if you're going to play an opening like this, make sure you take the time to study it. Okay, because now you have to like be really careful here. Yeah, on d5, and now you're just like losing. If you move the knight, you're losing, and otherwise you're losing the piece. So okay, bishop f5. Yeah, so not off to a good start just from that. So that's an opening issue for sure. Let's see how you play the rest of the game though. Queen d4. That's a pretty good move, I guess. Okay. Ooh, that's not going to end well. But here's the thing. When you are behind in development, you can't usually afford to grab pawns. And you're behind in development. This is still here. You need a castle. You got a rook. You got a bishop. You got a knight. You've got your opponent's queen in a pretty aggressive position. And so if you're going to go grab a pawn, I don't even have to like calculate anything. I can just tell you there's going to be a really good move for white. Like I just guarantee you there's going to be a really good move for white. And so, yeah, engine actually says mate in 5. And so what is it? Queen takes c6. Yeah, queen takes c6. Was this what was played in the game? Let's see. Yes. Bishop d7 and there's checkmate. That's just checkmate. I don't know why they didn't play that, but okay. So yeah. Big mistake was the opening. Gotta play an opening that you're a little bit more familiar with because otherwise it's just not good from the start. And then here, you know, this is okay because you are attacking this, but in hindsight, it probably wasn't the greatest because you can allow them to develop and defend at the same time. And so I think you just need to like develop a piece, bishop d6 or knight d7 or something like that. It's probably a little better. Okay. Let me see. That was a short one, so I'll do one more, I guess, before I show you one of my games. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna pick one that the person told me if they're white or black, maybe. Here we go, Josh. Josh was black. Right, Josh, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Josh was black. Oh, gotta move this over again, and I'll turn this back on now since we're on chess.com. Okay. Flip the board. All right, Josh. Okay, great. You got the center. It's looking nice. Okay. No. Knight d5, I like it. Engine doesn't like it as much. Knight g4, but yeah, knight d5 is good. I'm gonna turn off the engine for now. I don't want to just see all this stuff right at this moment. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I guess that is a little tactical trick, isn't it? So that's probably why I like knight g4 better, just so you don't lose the pawn. But even so, I don't think this is such a bad position because white hasn't developed anything. So I don't mind this. You're bringing out your pieces. Okay, I like that. You're getting castled. I like that. You're ready to probably start thinking about this. b6. Okay. Maybe I like bishop f5 a little better. It's a little more aggressive and actually gives you a target. You can think about moving your knight at some point, not like immediately because you just lose it, but at some point you can move your knight and you probably can get some nice pressure on the pawn. So I probably would have played bishop f5. The knight's well defended already. So, and also bishop e6 kind of blocks this from like your rook maybe doing something, but that's a pretty small thing. Queen a5, okay. It's not a bad idea. I like the idea of preparing for the rook to come over. Only thing is it does look like it's going to get harassed by the knight. And so that's something, maybe queen c7 is a little safer as far as that goes, but okay. Yeah, so now you're going to have to move, so wasted a little time. So that's a little scary because I'm like, is my queen going to get trapped after this move? Can't go there. It looks like you do have a square, so I think you're okay. But you got to be careful. It's amazing, like the queen is such a powerful piece, and yet sometimes you start moving it forward and it's like, oh, hold on a second, do I actually have a way to, you know, get out? But it looks like you're okay, and they did do that. Okay. Yeah, you guys are playing pretty good, seeing the threats, making good moves. What's happening here? You can almost play here and fork them, but there's en passant, and I guess... Well, is there en passant? Hold on a second. Is this actually a good move? You know, whenever you have pieces where a pawn can attack both of them, usually it's worth it to like stop and think about it. And this is pretty interesting because if en passant, I think you can just take, and then win the knight. Oh no, there's checkmate. Never mind. And you take, yeah, it's complicated. I would at least consider this. I'm not sure if you looked at it, but let me actually see what is the, no, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work, but something that I wanted to see. Oh, engine showing, oh, rook takes d6. Oh, okay. Well, there's another way to do it. You take the knight and then you play here and you fork them. Wow, okay. And that's, I don't know if I would have saw that in a blitz game. Although this wasn't a blitz game. Anyway, okay, here's the thing. This is probably a key takeaway moment for a lot of people. Whenever you have pieces that are in a pattern that look kind of like, oh, there's almost a fork, you want to think about it. Or, oh, there's almost a fork with my knight. Okay, oh, well, I can almost take that and win a piece, except I just quite can't do it. I almost take, you know, I can almost take the bishop. Well, not quite. Like, that should make your brain start to think, well, let me just check a little further. Maybe there's a trick here. Maybe there's a tactic, right? There's tactics all over the place in chess games. Like if you were to pull this up on chess.com, if you're doing puzzles, right? And it's like, okay, it's a puzzle, black to play. What do you play? I'm guessing a lot of you, after some thought, would probably find, oh, rook takes d6, maybe knight f6. Now that's a little bit more difficult. But the point is, if you know it's a puzzle, you're going to be looking for it. And so even though you don't know it's a puzzle, you want to like notice the patterns, notice that maybe there's something there, maybe there's something there. And it can start your brain down that path of like finding those tactics. Because most people just kind of skim over them real quick, right? And I do it too. Like, I mean, I didn't see that right away either. But anyway. All right, takes. Okay, so the idea is good. You want to undermine the pawn because the knight's like super annoying. So I get that. The issue is what weaknesses are you creating when you move an F pawn by your king, right? Well, you open up the diagonal, and so you always want to ask yourself, if you're going to move the pawn, which is totally fine, like a lot of times that's a good idea, but you want to ask yourself, what am I creating as far as a weakness, and can my opponent do something? Well, yes, there's a queen, they can. And so I think, let me see what the engine says. I'm pretty sure queen e6 is just winning for white. Yep, because you get this little fork, right? And if you don't take it, you get smothered, mated. Boom. Right? So, yeah, I mean, you know, you're on the right track, but you can't do it right now. You gotta find something else. Okay, but opponent didn't see that and played knight here, which is still pretty scary for you because you got this, you gotta watch out for this. I'm thinking queen c7, or what else can you can't go here because of the fork. Yeah, this looks pretty scary because of the pawn, so probably queen c7. g6. I don't like moves like this because you create more holes, but yeah, it's one way to stop the checkmate. Okay. Yeah, and you see how the holes now, it's pretty bad. Okay, but at least you get the knight and the pawn for it, which is not the worst thing in the world. Okay. Yeah, it's tough to play from here. Kind of had to hold on to that if you could, because you kind of had a little fortress here. This is the thing, if you are down material, but you can create some sort of a fortress where like everything's kind of defending everything, like the knight's defending the pawn, the queen's defending the pawn, the pawn's defending the knight. Like, okay, it can be hard for your opponent to get through. And so like if you just played a move like, I don't know, maybe just king g7 to kind of help defend some of those weaknesses and just sort of try to hold on, and maybe, you know, maybe you could have done something there, but let's see. Once that fortress is gone, then it's pretty tough. Yeah, this is not looking like it's gonna end well. Just gonna go ahead. I'm assuming that this is, yeah. Okay. So yeah, you played pretty well. Just what we talked about, those tactics, kind of try to, you know, pay attention to those patterns, and that'll hopefully help your brains sort of think through some of those. How to submit games. You can email them, although I'm pretty much wrapping it up for tonight. So yeah, I think somebody asked for like one of my games that I was proud of. So I think we'll do that to kind of finish it off. And let me go find the game that I want to show you guys real quick. So give me just 1 second here. I think I have a good one. Let's see. You know what? I think I'm just gonna pick this random one. I don't even know. Let's just do it. Let's just do this one. All right, here we go. So, I'm black, and this was. Why is it not showing the time? What is going on? I don't know why it's not showing the time. Anyway, I'm black. I think this was a blitz game. Because, yeah, my rating's not that high in anything else. Or bullet. I guess it was bullet, actually. But I've been playing this bishop f5 stuff against the Queen's Gambit. With pretty nice success. And this is actually not a great move. Even though it's like, okay, there's some counterplay, it's pretty good for black, I think. So, yeah, this is really bad. And I went for the fork. Okay, king has to move. I captured here first because I'm unleashing the queen. And then I took it, e4, and there's a couple things going on. So, you know, my opponent could have like just taken here, or even like put me in check, and then I was gonna have to move my king here, which is kind of scary, but they're trying to get their pieces out, right? Especially in these aggressive tactical positions, you don't want your pieces to get like stuck on the back. And so what they're trying to do is just like, all right, let's, with tempo on the bishop, get another piece out. So I totally understand that move. Brought the rook over, saved my bishop, and this is a kind of a cool move. So I'm forked, but what I'm doing is basically saying, hey, if you take my queen, I'm going to take your queen. And then, actually, let me do one thing. Was this actually a good move? I'm not sure if it was. Let's see something. Yeah, so it was. Okay. So bishop takes e4. You guys want to take a moment and see what do you think the idea is here? What's the idea behind this move? And my opponent played that, but there were other options. So 3D services, thank you. Appreciate the super chat. So any ideas on what's going on here with this move? Josh, yeah, you're welcome, Josh. No problem. All right, so I'm seeing, I'm not seeing actually a lot of responses. So basically, here's the deal. There's two pieces that can take the bishop. So there's, let's just say the queen takes. One idea, and actually this was kind of my main idea, but knight to b3 check, and if the king like just moves, let's say, well then my queen can come down and I have mate. That's just checkmate. So that's no good for white. And then the other kind of more obvious move is what if they capture? Well then it lets my rook come in over here. And then king up, I think I was thinking that I had like mate or something, because it's a bullet game. So I was probably thinking that that was actually mate, which it's not. But then I can just take the bishop, and you know, I saved my rook from getting captured by doing that, and I'm still in a good position. White's king is in a very dangerous spot, so that's kind of one idea. And actually, if you're wondering, I didn't even need to do this. I could have just played knight b3 check first right away, and then we kind of would get the same position. So takes, and then I can take on e4. But anyway, so that's kind of one idea. The other idea, bishop takes. If the knight takes, I have same move, knight to b3 check. So this is kind of the whole point of this game, this knight b3 move. Again, if captures, then the rook can come in, king goes up, and I think this is just mate. Yeah, mate 2. Check. Where's the mate? No, I'm not seeing it. King up, oh, rook c1. Yeah, of course. Right. And then the bishop's covering this, so it's checkmate that way. So there's that. And let's see, what's the other line that I didn't cover yet? Oh, let's see, what if king comes up here? Because this is a little bit different, because now the knight is controlling that square. So we don't have queen d2. What do we do here? I don't actually remember this one. So I played this game a while ago, so I'm trying to like remember everything I was thinking about. Well, there's back and forth if we want it, or queen d5. But this is the other idea, to save the rook that way. Okay, I don't think I saw that, to be honest with you. Anyway, and then the other thing, obviously, if they take the queen, well, then I can just take their queen. And now I'm just in a good position because I got the rook. So I'm just ahead. So, yeah, that was kind of the move. I was proud of that. But my opponent played queen to b6. And now you guys can come in. What did I play? What did I play now? probably figure this out from what I said, but I'll give you guys a second. Black to play and basically win. I'm seeing Queen G5. Seeing Queen G5, Knight B3. Any other ideas? Queen G5. Interesting move. That's actually not bad. Queen G5 is not a bad move. Although after F4, I don't know what we have. But it does get out of the the attack, so okay. Yeah, considering what I said. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's right. It's Knight B3. Moves Knight B3. And you know, same idea as before. Except now it's even more forcing because the bishop is here. Before, white had the option to move the king up in some lines. Now they don't have that, right? Because we got this, have to take the knight. And if they take with the pawn, we have mate in 2. Sorry, mate in 2. And then the other thing, only other move is queen takes. And well, let's see, I'm gonna take this. And if they take my queen, I can finish it off with this. And I'm gonna get a new queen unless they just take. Then I take, and I'm just way ahead material. Yeah, so that was a pretty cool finish to the game. And that's, yeah. I think, let's see, I think my opponent just resigned after Knight B3. Yeah. Anyway, that's a cool game. I have some more. Maybe I'll do some of these going forward. Maybe we'll finish off with the game or something like this. Next week, I will probably do 1,000 to 1,200. So if you're in that range, be ready. And yeah. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I need to get some sleep. I haven't been sleeping enough lately, so I gotta go do that. Kind of important. Thank you guys for the games, for the super chats. I stream every Wednesday night at this time, from like 8:30 Central Time to about 10:30, roughly. Yep. Every week there's a stream. Usually every week, pretty much every week. Yep, you got it, Jay. You can catch the replay on the channel. So do that if you want. Yeah, and if you guys like this better than me just playing games, let me know. Leave a comment or something on the stream or just on the channel or whatever, just so that I know like what people enjoy more. It's kind of hard to tell. I feel like I get a similar amount of viewers regardless if I'm playing games or analyzing games. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Okay, later guys. Take it easy.